Welcome to the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. We've got a fast-paced hour of fishing, hunting, and conservation covering the nation and the Northwest, including 13 extra minutes of local content you'll only hear on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Good morning. Are you heading out for the Lowland Lakes opener right now? I know a lot of our listeners are, and this promises to be a fun day. If you're looking to reel in a limit of stocked rainbow trout planted in hundreds of lakes around the state for this very day. We've got a great show for you today. On the local front, we're going to be talking to Mike Meseberg out at MarDon Resort about the results of the very well-attended Potholes Bass Open that took place last week. And at the end of the program, once again, we'll chat with Bob Loomis with another Mack's Minute. He has got the perfect lure to use for both trout and kokanee this spring. But first, let's tell you what's hot and what's not. Brought to you by your Puget Sound area Sportsman's Warehouse stores, which is the perfect stop before you go fishing today. Get all the tackle you need for the trout fishing or whatever fishing you're going to do. You'll find the local stores in Everett, Silverdale, Federal Way, and Puyallup. The first thing that's hot is tagged trout. Trout with blue spaghetti tags have been planted in over 100 lakes around the state, and if you catch one between now and the end of October, you'll want to keep that fish and call the number that's on the tag because you're going to win a prize valued between $25 and $1,000 when you do. It's all part of the state's annual Trout Derby. If you want to know which lakes have tagged fish in them, just search for the 2019 statewide trout fishing derby on the WDFW website, and you'll find a map that will tell you exactly where you can go fishing for tagged trout. What else is hot? Spring Chinook. I know, it's hard to believe, but in this year, where Chinook are hard to come by, the Skagit River is opening up for springer fishing on May 1st for the first time in 30 years. You're allowed 2 hatchery Chinook a day in the open portion of the river between the Highway 536 bridge in Mount Vernon to Gilligan Creek east of Cedar Woolley. What's not hot on the fishing front are salmon seasons set for British Columbia, Puget Sound, and the Columbia River. With low returns of Chinook, sockeye, and pinks expected this year, significant restrictions have been put in place around much of Vancouver Island and several marine areas within Puget Sound, as well as the Columbia River. We don't have time to go into the details right now, but we are doing so this weekend on our sister show, Northwestern Outdoors Radio, and you can also find these restrictions yourself by checking the WDFW and Fisheries Ocean Canada websites for details under the news sections. Just look for the news releases dated April 16th about salmon seasons. Moving from the water to the field, one final thing that's hot is pink. Hot pink in particular. That color has been approved to wear in the field for hunting season as an alternative to blaze orange by the Washington State Legislature, and the bill has been signed by Governor Inslee. Hot pink, like blaze orange, is not naturally found as a color in nature and stands out for hunters wearing them to keep them safe. Hot pink has become an approved color in several states lately, and the bill's sponsor here in Washington, Senator Linda Wilson, says the color will likely be popular for both men and women because this color is associated with the fight against breast cancer. By the way, Senator Wilson herself is battling breast cancer, and we wish her a complete recovery to go along with this legislative victory. So there you go. Now you know what's hot, what's not, and what's pink here in Washington State.
That's your first local shot of the outdoors. Now let's see what's going on across the nation.
From well-known saltwater hotspots to hidden alpine lakes, learn the latest in tips, tackle, and techniques to help you catch more fish.
It's going to be a great show.
Northwest Fishing Reports, Sundays at 5 p.m. on Q13 Fox.
Are you looking for a game changer to help you catch more trout, kokanee, and salmon? No problem. Just tie on Mack's Crip Lure. Cast it or troll it. Either way, its specially designed ring chamber emits a low-frequency vibration with its erratic movement. It will catch more fish and make them strike. Better still, the different colors for the lure can be matched to just about any fishery. Look for the Crip Lure from Mack's Lure Company at a sporting goods store near you or go online at maxlure.com.
Ready for more local fishing and hunting? You got it. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
For your next local shot of the outdoors, we're heading to Potholes Reservoir in eastern Washington. The Potholes Bass Open took place there last week, and boy, oh boy, was it crowded. 146 boats. That's right, nearly 300 anglers battling. The team that came out on top, Jordan Doucette and Chad Eisen, with a 2-day wait of just under 39 pounds. They took first place. By the way, this two-man team, they also took second place April 6th and 7th at the same lake, fishing the Northwest Bass Tournament with a similar bag of about 40 pounds. With us here to tell you more about the Potholes Bass Open is Mike Meseberg with MarDon Resort. Mike, quite an event.
John, it was a fabulous weekend. It was the 40th time the Potholes Bass Clubs had their tournament at MarDon Resort, a great accumulations of many different families. And the best news of all to fishermen is the bass are showing some really good action. We saw some nice largemouth up to almost 7 pounds. We saw smallmouth over 5 pounds. And bass fishermen were having a ball. It was a large tournament, but the reality is on Potholes Reservoir, you can have 250 boats in a tournament by state law. And there's a lot of different fishermen that have been coming out enjoying the bass fishing, primarily in the sand dunes area. And the smallmouth are just starting to hit out by Goose Island and all the areas up along the face of O'Sullivan Dam. There's also been some walleye fishing. Shelby Ross, our premier walleye guide, he went out 2 days ago on his last trip, and they got a limit of walleye for 4 people. And they're just beginning. The walleyes are not fast and furious yet, but they're just beginning. One thing coming up in the near future is we have the 18th year of the Rod Meseberg Spring Walleye Classic. It's a walleye tournament open to the public. We have a wonderful meal the night before and 2 days of fishing, and everyone that would enjoy a walleye tournament is more than welcome.
All right. Well, the website to find out more about the Rod Meseberg Walleye Classic is MarDonResort.com. That's also the place to go to book a stay if you want to go fishing for bass, walleye, or crappie. As you can hear, it's on fire this spring. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you much, John. Have a great day.
From well-known saltwater hotspots to hidden alpine lakes, learn the latest in tips, tackle, and techniques to help you catch more fish.
It's going to be a great show.
Northwest Fishing Reports, Sundays at 5 p.m. on Q13 Fox.
Backcountry hunters and anglers, the men and women working hard to keep public lands in public hands. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com.
Game-changing. That's the best way to describe the new Scent Flash UV Triangle Flasher from Mack's Lure Company. This 360-degree rotational inline flasher features a scent release system attracting salmon to the lure behind it like no other flasher on the market. Soak the free scent pad with any type of oil or gel, or load up the cavity with any type of bait for fishing success beyond your wildest dreams. It's the Scent Flash UV Triangle Flasher, only from Mack's Lure Company.
Don't leave yet. We've got one more local shot of fishing and hunting to wrap up the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio.
It's time again for another extended Max Minute.
Fish on.
Brought to you every week by Mack's Lure Company. With us once again, Bob Loomis. Bob, question for you.
Yes, sir.
I want to go fishing at a lake that has both trout and kokanee, and I know I've got several lakes I can choose from. There's Lake Stevens over in western Washington, as well as American Lake. In eastern Washington, you've got those Kokanee lakes opening at the end of April that also have both kokanee and trout. Is there one lure I can use to catch both?
Yeah, early in the season, John, one of the things that works tremendously well is a lure that's called a peewee hoochie. What it is, it's a small squid body set up on a double hook rig with no spinner blades or anything. And it works tremendously well early in the season when you're not you don't want to really spook the fish.
is what you're doing is you're traveling at a little bit higher rate of speed, and you're trying to get those fish. They're up feeding on the surface, so they're going to chase different types of lures up on the surface.
So we're not talking necessarily about fishing these with a downrigger ball. I mean, you could just use a little keel weight, or maybe if you're right up by the surface, even some split shot to just keep it down below the surface of the water.
You bet. Exactly. That's the way it needs to be fished.
Any colors in particular you'd recommend for this early spring fishery?
You can never go wrong with the hot pinks, the hot oranges, different things like that always work well.
Well, if you're looking for a mixed bag of trout and kokanee at one of our lakes, consider the Pee Wee Hoochie from Mack's Lures. You can find it at sporting goods stores, and you can also find it online at maxlure.com.
That's all for this week, but don't worry. We'll do it all again next Saturday morning from 7 to 8, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.